Thank you, everybody, for being here. This is KBM, your host of This is Africa. It's Saturday, 8 August 2020. We're going to play some brief music and then we'll get right into the interview. Be right back. All right, welcome back again. This is KBM, Kenyan by Marriage, your host of This is Africa, Saturday, 8 August 2020. For those who are just coming in, without further ado, we have a very special guest, the Khumba Guy from Zambia. How are you doing today? I'm
I'm all
doing
right,
pretty
thank
good.
you. How are you?
Tell everyone where they can
Okay.
find you.
Well, I'm the Khumba Guy, and you can find me on YouTube slash the Khumba Guy, Facebook, and Twitter and Instagram. I've got a Twitter account, but it's a little inactive. Still trying to get the hang of that. So Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. You can find the Khumba Guy.
Okay, great, great. Now, I didn't put your Twitter information because I didn't know you had Twitter. I'll put that information in the description box below so everybody can click those links now. And
Yep.
my first question for you for the day, we're just going to get right into this. Um, what I want to know is how is Zambia these days? Like, what's going on in Zambia?
Well, it's getting warm. That's one thing. So we're just getting out of winter. Um, so that's a good thing. I love summer. I love the heat. Um, we're still, otherwise, we're still grappling with what to do with COVID. Our cases are going up a little bit um, compared to last month and the previous months. We're having a few more cases than before. So that's what's happening. Other than that, it's business as usual. We're getting on with everyday life. A few restrictions here and there. Schools are still closed, but yeah, we're trying to get by day by day.
Okay, so we already know that places like Rwanda, Tanzania, and Kenya they're already open since basically the 1st of August. Are the borders open in Zambia right now?
I don't know about the borders, but we opened our international airports recently, 2 weeks ago. All the
Okay.
international airports were opened, so people can travel in. Um, yeah, they had been closed previously, so I don't know how much they need to be quarantined if they come in, whether it's locals returning or visitors coming in. So at least that opened. I want the borders to be open because I want to travel, but yeah, until further notice.
Okay, so your international air borders are open anyway, so you just don't know if the road
Yes,
borders are open right now.
yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
We are having trucks and cargo coming in, so I'm not sure about passengers and people.
Okay, because the other three countries they are doing some different things that they've never done before, of course, and but it's really not that much out of your way that you have to wait. The word I got from Tanzania is you have to have the COVID test within the last 72 hours before arriving. Otherwise, wherever you're coming from, they're not going to let you on the plane. That's the information I got out of Tanzania. I watched the informational video out of Rwanda, so they're doing a lot of different things. But as far as the testing, they'll test you on site. So after you go from the airport, they'll take you to your hotel and they'll test you at the hotel before you go anywhere else. And in
Oh,
Kenya,
okay.
I didn't quite get the information there, but they are doing a lot of prep prior to people coming in as well as people going out from the airport. So pretty much all three countries are doing a lot, and I'm sure they're doing the same thing in Zambia. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, there should be. Yeah, there's a lot of tests going on now, much more than before. So I think that dis despite opening the borders, there's still a lot of restrictions on people coming in, and what the process they have to go through.
Okay, so everybody just coming in, you see the link in the chat. That is the Khumba Guy YouTube channel. Go ahead and check him out, subscribe to him. He's got a lot of information about Zambia. He does go out of Zambia as well. My first question for you: has Zambia reopened the borders to visitors? Now, we've already gone through that, but what I really want to know is who is the Khumba Guy?
Um, the Khumba Guy is a traveler, and should I call myself a tourist too? So I travel around. I'm a Zambian, and I travel around Zambia and the region, sharing routes and sharing travel information about how to get about from place to place, different options, and show experiences about that, whether it's on a bus or on a train or whatever it is. And I do tourism too, sharing tourist destinations, accommodation, and various places which people would be interested to see. Places I'm going, which I find interesting and I feel I should share with others. So basically, I do travel and tourism within Zambia and the region.
Okay. So
Yep.
where does the name Kumba come from, and what is the meaning behind the name?
So my full name is Kumbulani. Um, so Kumba is just short from Kumbulani. Kumba is what I was called in primary school by my friends. Hey, Kumba Guy, Kumba Guy. So
Okay.
when I grew up, I was using it on social media as my social media. So when I actually started the Kumba Guy and the social and active travel and tourism channel, it was just my default go-to name. I was like, hey, it's already on social media, so let me just use it as my social media handle. So it became the Kumba Guy. It was nice, and I thought it was nice and catchy, so I went on with it.
Yeah, it definitely stands out from a lot of other names. So
Yeah.
okay, well, thank you for letting me know that. Now I know what's behind that name. Now my next question for you is like, what do you do as a profession?
I'm a trained secondary school teacher. I studied geography and mathematics.
Okay.
So yeah, but I'm not working in the trade right now. I currently work for an organization, a Christian organization. So that's what I do. So in addition to that, whenever I move around doing trainings, we train students in various disciplines. So whenever I move around training students and visiting campuses, um, that's when I start recording and sharing other things. So basically, we train campus students
Okay,
in various
okay.
things. Yep.
So you said you're teaching mathematics and geography, so I could definitely see where the
Yep.
geography comes in with the travel
Yeah.
vlogging. They marry each other. So I could see you in the future probably giving some really technical information, like like coordinates and all this other stuff you're going to be putting in your videos later on. I could just see you
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
There's a lot of my geography that I want to use in my channel, rather than just be a random opinionated vlog, but
Right.
have a lot of relevant information and real stuff which people can use. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think a lot of people will actually appreciate that. Definitely use all the skills that you have to make a really great video. Content is king, as they say.
Yep, indeed. Yeah,
So,
and good content is prime. So
right, right.
in addition to just making content, it has to be great. So yeah.
So I want to give a quick shout out to a couple of people in the chat. We got God Gift, or excuse me, yeah, God Gift Expectations TV, as well as Witty Graphics. Thank you for being here.
All
So
right, what's up?
my next question for you is, the other day I asked you, are you a tour guide? And you said you just started. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so as part of my travels, I discovered that there's a lot of stuff which I'm interested in and places that I'm going. And I figured I could put packages together and just help people get to places because there's not much local tourism. A lot of our tourism is international tourism. So, and there's a lot of reasons for that. So I figured if I could get people traveling, especially at a much more reasonable cost. You can find cheap ways to travel, cheap places to stay, budget friendly, and take people around at a good reasonable cost for Zambian, for example. It would be helpful to help people get around. So, I mean, I travel. I don't have a big budget to travel, so I normally try to use as much um, um, try to use as least amount of money as I can, or try to travel as much from the little money that I do have. So if I can do it and move around with very little money, I guess we could do it with a lot of other guys and just show them that, look, it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. You can get about with this much and so on. So I've been trying to see how I can put together packages at a good rate, which and your average Zambian would be ready to spend.
Okay, yeah, but that's good. I mean, it's always good to encourage the local tourism to pick up instead of just depending on international tourists.
Yeah, yeah.
I do want to give another shout out. We got a few more people that just came in. LR Gabriel from Zambia, thank you for being here. We have C Zulu. We also have Nandisi Way. I hope I said your name correctly. Thank you all for coming here.
Thank you, people.
I do have a suggestion because I always like to help people, content creators within the continent, especially. Now,
Yep.
as far as like the local, this would be good for both the locals and the international tourists coming in, is that you can actually connect and collab with Airbnb owners and make a trade. You'll do content, you'll do advertising for them as your content for a YouTube video. That way, they're getting advertisement
Yeah,
on where a visitor could stay, and then you'll be getting views and stuff like that on your channel. What do you think about that?
Yeah, yeah, that is a good idea. I've been thinking of trying to connect with people in the industry, accommodation and whatnot. So that is a brilliant idea, actually. I did try out Airbnb once. I got the app, I signed up, and I tried to use it, but I haven't really explored it that much. So that is a good avenue. I should get into more.
Yeah, that'll also
See if I
help.
can find people.
They'll build up your black book of people as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to say hello to Joy, the Wonders of Africa. Thank you for being here. My next question for you is, okay, in your videos, you use a lot of different methods of transportation. What mode of transportation do you like to travel more than others, and why?
That's an interesting question. That's a difficult question. I have a history with trains. I used to travel a lot with trains when I was a kid. We used to, whenever we go for holiday, would use train. So literally my whole childhood was on train. But somewhere in the middle, in my mid-teen years, I didn't use much train, and buses took over. Buses became more efficient and effective. So I've been using buses since. I love buses. I like talking about buses, learning about buses, new buses, and all the amenities and the services they offer, and so on. But I've got a passion for trains as well. So buses are quick and they're effective and uh, relatively luxurious. But in the recent past, I've used trains a couple of times. The train here in Zambia is rather slow, significantly slower than the bus. It takes much longer, and some of the amenities on the train are not the best of amenities. So it's quite it's a bit of an experience to use the train as compared to use the bus.
Is
But
it still an adventure though?
it is an adventure. Yes, yes. There's lots to see, lots to do, lots to see on the train, and lots to see as the train is driving by, moving by. So um, I would given, and then again, the train is not available every day, nor is it available for a lot of destinations. So your only option for many places is the bus anyway, and it's much more convenient and faster. So you're gonna get on the train if you want an adventure, if you want an experience, um, and so on. But you'd want the bus if you want to get where you're going and get there quickly. So I would use either, but I would tend to the bus most often.
Okay, I forgot to mention his name earlier. Thank you for coming in, Enos, the Tonga guy. I think you're from Zambia as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, he's from Zambia. Yep.
Okay, and did I pronounce his first name Enos correctly?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, great, great, great. Because in the West they'll say Enos, so they pronounce certain vowels, a
Ah,
little bit
okay.
differently. So, okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
from watching your videos, first of all, your passion you said is trains, but from watching your videos, you would think that your passion is buses. So I'm glad you clarified that.
My childhood was trains, so I've got a history with it. So that's the only reason I have trains on my heart because I use them a lot, and the train would always be the start to a great Christmas holiday. It was always on Christmas that would go to visit my grandma and my
Oh,
cousins
okay,
and stuff like that. So it has that sentimental, nostalgic
right.
value to it.
That makes sense.
So yeah, yeah, it's not the most convenient things to use trains in Zambia. I did use a train in Botswana and in South Africa, and those are fast and nice. So um, yeah, I think both, both or
Okay,
either. Buses are more diverse because there's so many models, there's so many destinations, and there's so many services which are offered. Whereas with the train, there's just one service provider and there's just one train. Not much to compare to.
right.
So I've got more to talk about and more to do and more places to go on the bus. And yeah, there's a lot more exciting stuff happening with the buses. So yeah.
Okay, so you seem to travel a lot around Zambia. Have you explored all of Zambia before?
I'm left with Zambia's 10 provinces, so I'm left with one. In all
Oh,
my years, I've never been to one, Luapula province. So I'm hoping to go there because not only have I not been there, not only do I want to travel to Luapula, Luapula has also got a lot of amazing waterfalls, and the Great Luapula River, and there's a bridge crossing the Luapula River. So there's a lot I want to do in Luapula. There's a big lake, Lake Bangweulu, with white sandy beaches. So I do want to go there. Other than that, I have been all around Zambia. Many other places I haven't been since I started the Khumba Guy, so I haven't recorded much. So um, I'm yet to record even some of the places that I've actually been to before.
okay, okay. So you're going to go back
Yeah,
later and give us that information on those other locations.
Yeah, and record
Okay.
certain destinations.
Okay, great. So, like, what places do you like best so far in Zambia and why?
Um, to visit, firstly, there's always Livingston. Livingston is the prime destination in Zambia. It's got
Hmm.
the amazing Victoria Falls, and there's just a lot to do. It's a heck of a hot place, especially in summer. It's really, the weather is just something else. Uh, so to do stuff to see, you never get tired of the Vic Falls. I always love to go there. I'm not a fan of the city life, so I'm in Lusaka because I have to be there. But I visit the Copper Belt. Copper Belt is home. It's where I grew up, so I love the Copper Belt. It's where I am currently. It's a nice place to be. It's got friends and places to go. So beyond that, other places are mainly just for exploring, visiting, maybe doing work. Um, yeah. So
That was one of the questions I was going to ask you. Where in Zambia are you from, and where are you now? So you're from the Copper Belt. You're in the Copper Belt
yes,
now. Is that correct?
Chingola to be precise. Chingola is a little mining town. All the towns in the Copper Belt are mining towns, copper mining, hence the name. So I was born in Chingola and I grew up in Chingola and I'm currently there. So yeah, that's where I am right now.
Okay. Okay.
400 kilometers north of Lusaka.
Okay. So now on YouTube, I've seen a very particular place that looks like it only exists in Zambia. Um, the Mufufe Lodge, I think it's called, in Zambia's South Luangwa National Park. You may be treated to a surreal
Mfowe.
sight of small Mufue. Okay, you may be treated to like a
Mfowe,
surreal
yes.
sight of small herd of elephants walking through the hotel lobby. Have you ever been there?
Yeah. No, I've never been to Mfowe. So Mfowe is in the national park there is South Luangwa. So there's two national
Mm-hmm.
parks, North Luangwa and South Luangwa. South Luangwa is the more popular one and the much busier one, and it's got a lot of live wildlife, not livestock. It's got a lot of wildlife, um, antelope and so on. So the Luangwa River crosses right through it, so that attracts a lot of wildlife and herbivores and carnivores are attracted to the herbivores. So it's one of the biggest in terms of tourist arrivals in Zambia. It's a very nice park, and there is a couple of lodges where you have elephants passing right through the lobby, and you're very close with nature. It's South Luangwa is popular for its walking safaris. Apparently, that's the home or the birth of the famous walking safari. So
Oh,
South
okay.
Luangwa is known for that. Yeah, in Africa, literally. So you can do walking safaris, get up and close with nature and with the animals, and tour guide takes you around. So yeah, Fue and South Luangwa are very good destinations for wildlife.
Okay, that's interesting. That's the birthplace for that type of safari because they actually in northern Ghana, at one of their national parks, they have just about every animal except lions. I think they have walking tours
Oh,
there as
okay.
well. That was the first time that I seen it was in Ghana on YouTube. All right, so
Yeah.
that's very interesting. Now I asked you if you've been to that lodge. You said no, but did you say that there's more than one hotel that does the same thing, where elephants are walking
There's a
through the lobby?
number. I don't know which one exactly. I've seen pictures of that with elephants right through the lobby. So I don't know how many have that happening, and how often it happens. But there are a number of lodges where um, you're very close with elephants mostly. I don't know how many actually go through and come through. So yeah, I wouldn't give a specific number.
Oh, I hear they like the mangoes. That's why they walk through the lobby. There
It's
must be
possible.
really good mangoes in Zambia.
We do have good mangoes. We have a lot of mangoes in November, December. There's yeah, yeah. So probably they do.
Okay, okay, very very interesting. I definitely have to say every African nation has something pretty much unique in
Mm,
ways of travel or way things are done. So that's definitely something unique as far as I know. Um,
yeah.
So if anybody's going to be going there, if you can, definitely try to check that out. Go look it up on YouTube. Elephants walking through the lobby. It's definitely interesting,
Yeah.
and it's in Zambia now. Now, my next question for you is: you have a Victoria Falls filming project. Tell us more about your project and why you have decided to do it.
All right. So I started a series called 12 Months at the Vic Falls, or Mosotunia Falls, as I like to call it. But I started that series beginning in January. So I've visited the falls quite a number of times, and I love it's amazing at any time of the year, whether it's dry, whether it's full flood, and so on. So I wanted to share how it looks during each month, how the seasons, well, not the seasons change, but how the water flow changes and the different things you can do and see at the Victoria Falls. So I started in January. Add to that the fact that there was a lot of media press on Sky TV in December about how dry it is and how we don't know what's going to happen to the Victoria Falls. There's a lot of publicity about the dry Victoria Falls, and what's going on. So I decided, well, look, we could give our story as well. The Victoria Falls, especially on the Zambia side, does get dry in the dry season. That's normal. So we should say that, but add to that, not we shouldn't give a half truth as
Right.
what was seemingly had been presented. It's more of a half truth. So let's give the full picture and let's give a regular picture. Yes, it does get dry. We should show that. We should talk about that. We should also talk about when it gets full. Most recently in April, sadly, the Vic Falls was closed to the public. But in April, the Vic Falls was flooded it had the highest flow of water in over 10 years. Quite ironic that considering somebody said it's dry in December. So would have loved that that was covered as well as much as the other story was given. So it's important for us to continue sharing our own story. It gives me an opportunity to be there every month. I've planned and hoped and dreamed to have pictures and to be at the falls every month.
Yeah.
So um,
Last year, I was reading a heated debate over that, and it had
mm,
nothing to do. It was an American sector of YouTube, and people who have never been to Africa for any reason, and they were given all their conspiracy theories why there was no water falling in the falls, right? And they're saying it's the Western government's fault, it's the Chinese fault, it's global warming, and then one guy who basically is a tourist all over Africa and is somebody that they wouldn't care for, but said, well, this is the reason why. I think he says monsoon season or something, whatever the season is. And one guy in Zambia or Zimbabwe went there, took a picture, and he was actually an African. He was about the only African in the group, and said, "The guy is right. I'm here right now. Look, it's actually dry." So they're saying the photo was
mhm.
fake. They're saying whoever brought out the photo in the beginning that it was fake. That there's water flowing all the time, and it was just crazy. It was just crazy. But ignorance is bliss, I guess.
Yeah. I think for me, having a live video more than just pictures, there's only so much cropping and editing of a video you can do. I mean, who'd go through all the effort of editing a video?
Right.
Having a live, real time video and from a resident, I mean, a local like me, um, present it and just show the real picture. I mean, I've got no political ties. I've got no whatever ties to try to push an agenda for or against anything. So it's just what it is. You can basically make your own interpretation of that. So I want to show people the situation on the ground, show people what's happening month after month, tell people what they can do and cannot do even during that time. So in addition to just showing the waterfalls, I also want to talk about the different things which are available. There's so much which is available at the falls beyond just the water.
Okay.
I mean, for the dry season, yeah, the dry season, for example, while you can't see much of the waterfalls, you could walk right at the top, at the edge of on the other side where the water actually falls. I did a video once when I was over there on the other side. There are a number of pools which remain while when it dries up because there's no water flowing over them. And I swam in one of those pools, and it's amazing. So and you can walk down to the bottom of the gorge. People do that, and get a canoe and go right where normally water would be falling, and where you can't really not be there during the wet season. So there's a lot of things which you can do at the falls at the different seasons. So yeah, I think that's partly my passion and joy.
Well, that's really good information because I don't think a lot of people take that into consideration, knowing that you could do other things. Plus, even watching some of the images of when it's dry, it's there's a whole different face underneath that water that is pretty unique to where it's at. And I'm sure Niagara Falls in New York is the same way. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that'd be
There is
real. Go ahead.
there is one thing about when it's in full flood. So when it's in full flood, March, April, May, there's so much spray. You literally just from the viewing point and from the little path. There's a path along the falls where you can view the falls and the Knife Edge Bridge and so on. When it's in full flood, there's so much spray coming up from the gorge. You can barely actually see the waterfalls itself because the spray is in between you and the falls. It's
Wow.
blocking. So literally all you see is white spray, a lot of white spray. So um, it is amazing. It's really thrilling and it's awesome and so on. But yeah, you have something at every time of the year really to do and see at the falls.
So, a quick shout out to Weird Bree. Thank you for being here. We also have Empress Tay. No, you're not too late. And Empress Tay says she enjoyed your video, Lusaka to
Good, good.
Johannesburg. Okay. And we also have
I enjoyed that trip too.
C Zulu says, I can't wait for the Luapula tour you got going on. Is that right?
It's gonna come.
Luapula?
It's gonna come. Yep, yep. Lopula is a province I haven't been to, where there's the waterfalls and the beach and everything. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
All right. Very interesting stuff. That's great information.
I can't.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I can't wait for the Lopula tour myself.
Okay, so my next question, and I told you, I think it was yesterday in a comment. Now, the Kazungula Bridge, it's a great project.
Zungula, yes.
Okay, am I saying that right? Kanzungula.
Yeah,
Okay,
Kazungula.
Kanzungula.
Kazungula.
Kazungula. Okay,
Exactly.
Kazungula Bridge is a great project.
Yes.
It's going to benefit
Yes.
both countries of Botswana and Zambia. But tell us the backstory about the bridge project.
So we've been using a pontoon between Botswana and Zambia. There's a bridge between Zambia and Zimbabwe at the Vic Falls. There's a Vic Falls Bridge, but there was no bridge. So Kazungula is like an hour's drive from Livingstone town, and so that's the border with Botswana. Zimbabwe is just 20 minutes drive from Livingstone town.
Okay.
So you can use either route to get into, well, you can use either route to get into whatever the respective countries, and beyond that, you go into South Africa. So you can go through Zimbabwe to go to South Africa, and you can go through Botswana to go through South Africa. So there's been a pontoon which has been ferrying people, or a ferry as people call it, so whichever you prefer, which ferries people across from the Zambia side. It's about 2 kilometers or 2 or so kilometers. So they've been running over the years. At the times there would be 3 pontoons. At times there would be 4 running simultaneously. Normally it's just 1 Botswana pontoon and 2 Zambian pontoons. Times it's just 2 or whatever it is. So that's what's been ferrying trucks and passengers across the Zambezi at that particular point. It's an important point for transport because for trucks because of the route into South Africa. So depending on where in South Africa you're coming from, where in South Africa your cargo is coming from, you'd prefer to use the Kazungula route rather than go through Zimbabwe. So it's been important for that particular reason. It's important for tourism as well because Chobe is a very big tourism place. The town in Botswana, which is just at Kazungula Bridge, Kasane is the town. So it's important in that regard, and people do day trips from Kasane, come to Vic Falls and things like that. So Yeah, so when the project started, it was a very big project between Zambia and Botswana. Now, at that point at Kazungula, Kazungula is a very interesting place because it's what is called a quadripoint. Quadripoint is where four countries meet. And apparently, I didn't verify this. Apparently, that's one of the only quadripoints in the world where the point at which four countries meet. So we have Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Namibia meeting at precisely that point. Um, so it was a very important thing for Zambia and Botswana because then it aids trade, it aids movement, and so on. But from where the pontoon crosses, to draw a direct line between Zambia and Botswana, you have to, on the water, you have to cross. There's a little section where you cross Zimbabwe.
Okay.
So if you're on the pontoon, you start off from Zambia and you get on the other side in Botswana. But for a minute or two, you're theoretically in Zimbabwe across the water.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so the Zimbabwe government wasn't very particularly thrilled at the project because they knew there's a lot of traffic which you stop going through Zimbabwe and prefer to use Botswana. So they actually refused to have the bridge cross through Zimbabwe. So they couldn't make a direct straight line bridge from Zambia to Botswana. And so there's a little curvature to the bridge which avoids the small section of Zimbabwe. If you see the video, I actually show a plan which actually shows those demarcations, so you can see where the bridge is curved and why it's curved. So that curvature allows it to actually move from Zambia into Botswana, but avoiding Zimbabwe. So it was a very interesting state of affairs that the bridge that things had to go through that way.
You've already answered my second question because what I found most interesting about that video was that curvature, and why. But you've already explained it, so we don't even have to ask that question. Thank you very much for explaining that, though. That sounds unique to me. Maybe it's happened once somewhere else in the world, but that was pretty unique. I don't see it really publicized anywhere. Maybe it was on the news a couple times in your area, but that is unique.
I never knew about it until I was trying to research a few things for my video after I'd already recorded it.
Okay.
And I was just compiling it and editing. And so I read a few things, watched a couple of videos. So there's one or two articles which actually mentioned that. That's where I learned about it. I was like, oh, it's weird but interesting. So yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
So I want to give a shout out to Mulewa. Thank you for coming in. Mulewa. Sorry about that. Mulewa.
Yep.
Precious to God TV. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Precious.
Let's see here. Let me see if this is a question here. Oh, okay, it's not a question. But next question I do have for you, since you've already answered, you gave an answer for two questions, basically.
Am I being efficient or what?
You are very efficient. This might be the shortest interview. I don't know. But I actually gave you probably like two more questions to all the previous ones, just for the simple fact that there's some interesting stuff I see on your channel. And I am the type of person I like to ask questions that nobody else is asking. So
I love to answer questions, so bring them on.
Okay. So I mean, this is going to be a great benefit for both countries. That will happen for them, right? But what's going to happen to the platoon in Kazungula? Will there still be a demand for the use of it?
So there's another video I did. When you go to Chirundu, from Chirundu you turn left. Now Chirundu is another of the borders with Zimbabwe. So it's the more popular route when going to Zimbabwe and when going to South Africa. But before you reach Chirundu border to jump into Zimbabwe, you turn left to go into Lower Zambezi National Park. So as you head down that road, you cross the Kafue River. And there's a video I did of Chirundu Bridge at Kafue River. So when you cross that Chirundu Bridge over Kafue River, it's just a small bridge. That's a new bridge. It's relatively new, less than 10 years, I guess, 5 years even. So there used to be a pontoon at that crossing. So what they do with pontoons is I don't know if the word disband is, yeah, they break them down and carry them to another river crossing which may need a pontoon. So there are a number of places around the country where they haven't yet built bridges and they may not have pontoons. So they do that. They break them down and they ship them to those places. Others may only have one pontoon. Others have pontoons where you use a cable. It's a rope tied from one end to the other, and so you pull yourselves or something of that sort. I've never used any of those pontoons, but I've seen that mechanism. So I think they'll do that. So all the pontoons around Zambia are run by a company called ESCO, ESCO.
Okay.
Engineering Services, something. So they manage the pontoons and they get the money and they repair them and so on. So I guess they'll know what to do with them once the bridge is done at Kazungula.
Okay. So, but you do see a future still, in use for those. I mean, I'm sure there's some things that won't be allowed to be transported across the bridge, or somebody won't be able to do it because they don't have a vehicle. Are you still seeing a use for those?
Not at Kazungula. I think once the bridge
No.
is done, the normal, not at Kazungula. In other places, I think there are other river crossings where they would take them. I think the bridge at Kazungula is sufficient for all the loads, trucks, and things like that. And where it isn't, there's always the option to go through Zimbabwe. So as you approach Kazungula from Botswana, there's a turn called Pandamatenga. So you can turn there. It's just a couple, 20, 30 kilometers into Zimbabwe, and then you can use the Zimbabwe bridge, the Vic Falls Bridge, and get into Zambia that way. So I don't think there would be use for pontoon at Kazungula anymore.
Okay. Well, that's good clarification. I'm glad you clarified that. Now, since you've already told us that you're from and you live in the Copper Belt, my next question is related to the Copper Belt. Is there a demand by tourists to experience the Copper Belt? And if so, are there tour guides or companies who offer Copper Belt tours?
The Copper Belt has never historically been a tourism place. There hasn't been much tourism. There are other places within the country that have more interesting attractions than the Copper Belt. In fact, there are places like northern Zambia, which has many more tourist attractions and hasn't been developed either. So the Copper Belt and visitors to the Copper Belt has basically been mining, anything around the mining industry, contractors and people relating to that. But as copper reserves are dwindling, there's a lot of other things opening up and trying to explore other ways for people to live. And there are quite a number of tourist attractions within the Copper Belt. Not too many, not too fancy, but there are a few. I was just trying to look up some of them and see what people could do. Where I am in Chingola, we have one of the largest open pit mines in the world, literally. Nchanga open pit mine, that's the largest, one of the largest in Africa and in the world in general. So that's poised as a tourist attraction. I don't know how easy it is to gain access to that, especially now. But there's a number of places. There's a sunken lake in Luansha, and there's a few places around the Copper Belt where you could visit and explore. And there's a lot of beautiful accommodation places opening up. So I think it's only developing now. With tourism, you need to have a lot of supporting industries or supporting attractions and activities to lure people. That's one thing which Livingston has really managed. So you have the falls, you have the national park within Livingston, you have all sorts of activities, bungee jumping and canoeing and rafting and the snake reptile park. So all those things support each other. So if you go to Livingston, you could well do 10 different activities. So places where you come to the Copper Belt and you're only going to see one river, or you have to travel again and see another place, that's usually not, it's very difficult for people to travel to see. But normally we're trying to build that. We're trying to build that and grow that. Even for people who are locals to the Copper Belt, it's important for us to show them and say, look, you can go to Kitwe, you can go to Ndola and see this place. I did the Degamashot Memorial in Ndola. I did a slave tree in Ndola as well. So all those are places. There's a museum. Many people didn't even know there's a museum in Ndola on the Copper
Oh,
Belt.
okay.
So there are a few places where you can actually go and see. So it's work cut out for me to show people what's available and where they can go.
Okay, we have a question for you on the screen from the chat.
How affordable are tourist attractions in Zambia? Especially, well, for locals, especially, they're dirt cheap. Really, you can literally, it's almost like walking in. Um, 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 People should go out and see. Museums are cheap. I mean, less than $1 for a local to get into the museum, same as the falls. And so tourist places are very, very cheap and easy to go to. I'd say that the only cost you have is either traveling to that place or the choice of accommodation the accommodation you're gonna select. But visiting and going to places, really, they're very affordable for anybody.
So this is
Even park
a
fees Even park fees at the national park, if you go to Kafue National Park, those are very, very affordable and very cheap. So what the only cost in tourism in Zambia is traveling to your destination and the lodging you're gonna use.
this is an opportunity for you to be a pioneer to expose these places to the locals as well as international tourists who want to come there. So what I do plan to do with TIA, This is Africa, is create a website that's going to be more SEO, search engine optimized for search engines, but it's going to be mainly regarding around tourism in Africa, but with content creators, like yourself, is going to be the forefront of it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
okay.
think you could probably even organize like local meetups and get a campaign going. Like hey, in 3 months, we need 20 people. We can all like take this tour that we've never done within this national park you're talking about, or visit this museum that
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
none of you have ever
yeah,
visited before. I
yeah,
think that'll
yeah.
help spark interest, and it'd be great for kids to go to as well. So I'm not sure if this is a question by C Zulu in the chat. This is the next comment that he made or she made. Sorry about that.
Yeah, yeah. Those are places on the Copper Belt where people can go. I know Mokoro is in Chingola, and Sove is in Ndola. Sove is a good place. There's a little dam there, and a water place, a river, and there's animals, and it's a nice lodging place just outside Ndola. Ndolo Dam is in Kitwe Kalarushi. It's a very nice place I've been to. You can boat there, and it's a small reservoir. There's a pool. I've been there quite a number of times. And Kalulushi also has a bird sanctuary. One of my most recent videos is a bird sanctuary. So there's that as well. So yeah, she's just mentioning a few places in the Copper Belt. Yeah, there's quite a number, which would be nice to visit. The thing with the Copper Belt is all the towns are within reach of each other. You're basically just an hour away from the next town within the Copper Belt. So wherever it is on the Copper Belt you live, you could always plan a day trip on a weekend and visit one place or the other, which is rather interesting. So people should do that as individuals, as groups, as youth groups, plan for those things.
Okay, my next question for you is: what other countries have you been to in Africa?
All right, so I've been to Botswana, like I said. My grandma used to live there, and my cousins and aunts, so we used to visit there a lot. That's my second most, well, after Zambia, of course. That's my second most visited or been to place. So Botswana is close to my heart. I've been to Botswana. I've been to Zimbabwe, of course, both traveling through it and I haven't stayed much in Zimbabwe. I've traveled through it much. I've been to South Africa a couple of times. I've been to Namibia. I've been to Namibia once. Very interesting place. Very nice country. I was there for a week, and I've been into Tanzania, as they like to say. We say Tanzania, but I say Tanzania. Not. I've been there just at the border. I visited it. I've been to Malawi. I did a day trip into Lilongwe. I visited Malawi.
Okay.
So yeah, those are. I think those. Yeah, that's about it. Because Kasumbalesa border is very near Chingola, with the border with Congo. So I've been to the border post and stepped into Congo and then walked back.
Okay.
So I don't know if I can I don't know if I can
You
claim to
you
have
you
been
you
there.
officially been to the Congo, just like you were officially in Zimbabwe in that video said. This is the division between, I think he said, Botswana and Zimbabwe. Was that little tin wall? Okay.
Yeah.
So we have Sakei. Thank you for coming in. And let's see, my favorite Zambian vlogger. So you got a fan.
Hi, Sakai. Welcome to my interview. Sakai's got a very amazing channel as well. So
Okay, I need to check that out. I probably already
thank
subscribed to her, but
you.
I think I need to check that out. Since you said that,
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out. All right,
She's
all
got a
right.
great introduction. Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So that's 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 what makes Sakai. So you know you're gonna have that when you come on.
Right, right. All right. So my next question for you is, what do you like best about each country you have been to, and what are the main differences between them?
Okay, I'll list them one by one. I'll start with Zambia itself, and then I'll use that as a point of comparison with the other countries. One thing about Zambia is we're very culturally diverse. We've got 72 tribes and dialects, languages. So we're a very diverse country. You wherever you are, you've got a neighbor who's of a different tribe and speaks a different language, and so on. Of course, we've got major languages within certain places, like on the Copper Belt, we've got Bemba and so on, and Lusaka they speak Nyanja, which is a language but not a tribe, and, but that's predominant in the Eastern Province where there's Chewa. So Zambia is a very diverse country that has lent to Zambians being called by many people very friendly people, because we've learned to live with each other and accommodate people of another tribe and meet somewhere in English and speak English or whatever it is. We generally are people who are friendly with our neighbors and so on, and that has spilled over into being friendly with tourists, being friendly with foreigners, having that diverse number of tribes and languages. So that's one thing I know about Zambia, which when you go to Botswana to start with, Botswana is a very, there's one language primarily, Setswana. There's Kalanga, which is spoken in the north, but by and large, there's Setswana. So it's very hard, which they speak even in banks and schools and so on and so forth. So it's very hard when you go there as a foreigner. You feel a little left out because a lot of them are speaking Setswana and not necessarily English. So you get to a point where you say, "Oh, I don't understand Setswana. I speak English." I wouldn't go as far as calling them unfriendly because of that fact. It's just the dynamics of language and the dynamics of that country compared to our country. So comparing Zambia to Botswana, that's one thing you're gonna notice depending on which country you're gonna come to. Um, Empress is here too. Empress, hi, welcome. Forgive me. Yeah, so that's one thing between Zambia and Botswana. Uh, Other than another thing is the climate. Botswana is a very hot country. There's desert and so on. So that's one thing you're gonna definitely notice. And there's very little rainfall during the rainy season and stuff like that. So you will notice the change of climate and weather when you get there. So I could give that. Zambia is a very, with a high population that we have, especially in the urban areas. The population in the whole of Botswana is almost equivalent to the population of Lusaka alone. So Botswana is sparsely populated. So because of that high density, relatively high density in Zambia, people in Zambia are hustlers. We get about doing all sorts of things, whereas people in Botswana are a little more laid back. You don't get people pushing. Even when you cross at Kazungula, it's very quiet and peaceful and calm in Kasani and that side. But once you cross over on the Zambian side, you have money changes, you have people want to carry your luggage, you have all sorts of things going on. So there's a very big difference in terms of the attitude of people to work and to find money and to hustle and so on between Zambia and Botswana. Those are some of the differences I can mention between that country. Zimbabwe is a sister country to Zambia. Back in the days, Zimbabwe was Southern Rhodesia, Zambia was Northern Rhodesia. So they're like our brothers, you know. We share the Zambezi River for a very large stretch, and we share a lot of history together. Zimbabwe was so during the time of Rhodesia and Nyasaland, there was a lot of mining in Zambia and resources taken to develop Zimbabwe. Despite how difficult life has become there was a lot of Zimbabwe was a fairly developed place. There's a lot of expatriates, white people. Well, I don't think they would call themselves expatriates, but white Zimbabweans and stuff like that. So there's a very cordial relationship between Zambia and Zimbabwe in many regards because of the shared history and the shared river. I haven't stayed much to totally experience it, but yeah, it's a fairly similar country to Zambia, and they're more friendly and welcoming to Zambians. I think we roll like that with the Zimbabweans. So that's about Zimbabwe. I would say South Africa is a very dynamic place. It's a very dynamic country. South Africa, with a lot of interactions I've had with South Africans, they call South Africa um, Africa Light. South Africa is not the typical. South Africa has got a very Western feel and look to it. It's highly developed, good highways and good amenities and good resources.
Yeah, I've
So when
heard
you
that.
cross from anywhere in Africa into South Africa, you're like you're in a new world. You're not really in Africa. You're out of Africa. They like to feel that way as well themselves. It is highly developed. You can give them that. So they're very they love their culture. They are very cultural people. They love their languages. They love their tradition. They love family values and so on. So that's very similar to Zambia. Um, they've got their apartheid history. So their approach to white foreigners or white locals as well is highly different from our approach to white foreigners because we had never necessarily been oppressed by whites. I mean, we had whites rule during the colonial period by the British and so on, but we've more or less had good relations. We don't mind white people per se, compared to how the South Africans have that deep, uh, strong feelings between the races, if I should use that term. I'm careful about what I say here, lest somebody from South Africa castigate me. So that's what I see from my interaction with a number of South Africans. They have that
So
apartheid history, which
so can you give like I guess an easy explanation as if you're white and you're coming to South Africa for a vacation or to live there for a year, what is their sentiment about that person being there? Like that, not I know not everybody, but what's the average? I guess you can say sentiment of that person being there.
I think they're cool with it. They're cool with a lot of investors or whatever it is you're coming to do and to live there. Um, I think that's my opinion, and it's not a highly informed opinion. There's a lot of white foreigners going to visit the Kruger National Park, to visit, to stay there, and so on. So, I mean, for a foreigner going to South Africa, there really is no problem. But I think they're just deep underlying sentiments that people have, not necessarily to white foreigners, but more to some of the white locals and um, the Boers and so on because of the history they've had.
Right.
So I really do not know how deep the situation is and how much their approach is even now, how much the blacks feel about white foreigners coming. But from my simple evaluation, the number of times I've been there and the people I've seen, there is that friendly welcome to white people, despite that apartheid and so on. I mean, the host of the World Cup, which was alright. I was recently there for a very international conference where I have
That
people
was
from all
that
sorts of
was that was
countries. So yeah,
enjoyable to watch actually.
yeah. So yeah, it's more or less okay to go into South Africa.
Oh, so Nandisiwe, she's from South Africa, is that correct?
Yes, Nandisiwe is from South Africa.
Okay, well, thank you for coming in. I really do appreciate it. I know I saw you earlier. So we do have somebody from South Africa here. So does she have a channel? Do you know?
No, she doesn't.
Okay. So
Yeah.
okay. So let's see. What country would be next? Namibia or
Namibia's got a lot of history with South Africa. Namibia is very interesting. I found this very interesting when I learned it. So Namibia was colonized by Germany, so it was Southwest Africa during the time of its German colonial rule. So once the Germans went, I don't know how much the South Africans took over. So the South Africans ruled Namibia more or less. I hope I'm saying this rightly, for quite a while. So when you go to to Namibia, there's a lot of South African influence and German influence. There's German heritage. There's of people do that. In fact, even their airline, Air Namibia, that was the only route out of Africa that it served Germany. It was going to Frankfurt and then regional routes because there's a lot of German history there and German whatever. But there's South Africa too. So it's very similar to South Africa. They use the currency is 1-to-1. There are a lot of people who have family in South Africa and vice versa. So there's very little difference. Of course, they didn't have that apartheid thing which they had in South Africa, but it's a fairly interesting country. And it's a hot country like Botswana because they have the Namib Desert and the Kalahari Desert as well. But it's a highly developed country as well. It's a highly developed country. I was in Windhoek. I traveled south to one of the towns down south. So it is a good, interesting country. The population is low, like Botswana.
2.8 million, I think.
Yeah, in fact, that could even be lower than Botswana. But yeah, they've got a lot of tourism going for them at the beach, the seacoast, and the sand dunes, which I'm yet to see. When I visited Namibia, I never did go to the dunes or to Swakopmund or whatever. So I still hope to do that. And then they have Walvis Bay, the port. So they have a lot of trade coming in, some stuff coming from the States and whatever on the Pacific Ocean comes through. Is it the Atlantic? Yeah, the Atlantic Ocean comes through Namibia and so on. So it is a good country. It's very welcoming. They're opening up on their tourism, the trade. So yeah, there's a lot going for it. But it's very similar in terms of currency to South Africa and the people who live there.
Okay. So let's see. Now, you said you've been on the border of Tanzania, you've been on the border of the Congo, but you said you actually went into Malawi. How is Malawi?
I went to Lilongwe, so I've never been. I was in Chipata. Chipata is the is the nearest town in Zambia to Malawi. So I was in Chipata, and it's about 2 hours from Chipata to Lilongwe. 30 minutes up to the border from Chipata, and then an hour and a half or two to Lilongwe. So I decided to visit Malawi because I had that opportunity and I was there. So I traveled to Lilongwe. There's a friend I know from work who's there, who lives in Lilongwe. So I called him up. I spent the afternoon with him, and I got on a bus and traveled back. So Malawi is an interesting place. We've got shared history with the Chewa tribe. So it's a nice country. Politically, similar problems or solutions to Zambia, and yeah, it's by and large your average African country. We have our friends there. The Chewa tribe is divided between Zambia, Mozambique, and Malawi, small sections in each country around that area. So there's a lot of there's good camaraderie between Zambia and Malawi. So yeah, it's a nice country. Good.
Okay. So we do have another question from C Zulu. She got a question on the screen for you.
What have been your highs and lows, and what drives you? I'll start with the second question. What drives me? I love to travel, and I love to see places. So that drives me. Just the joy of being on the road or moving from one place to another, seeing different places, experiencing, having a journey. I love that. I enjoy that. So, and then I enjoy being at new places, tourist places. I enjoy seeing. Yeah, I enjoy to explore, to travel and explore. So that drives me. In regards to, and I should say that's what drives the Khumba Guy, because I enjoy to do that. I enjoy in my travels. I should mention, as I travel and as I see, I like to learn. and pay attention. If I'm traveling along the road, I want to pay attention to how far it is from here to there. I want to know what time I'll arrive, how long the journey is, what things are available around. I would just sit in the back and sleep unless I'm traveling at night. So I like to see, I like to know, I like to gather information into my mind. So it's that which drives me to then share all that information as well. So that drives the Khumba Guy. So I'm not doing it to travel and see, but to travel, see, learn, and share all the things I've seen and experiences I've had. So that drives me. My highs and lows. My highs, I've been meeting a lot of people in the industry, in the travel industry, bus operators, bus drivers, and meeting. I've got friends on the train conductors, and meeting people in lodges and people in the tourism industry. That's been great. It's really thrilling when you get to know people, you get to interact with them about the industry, get to talk with them about things you know from school, like from my geography qualification, things I learned in school, things I see, things I experience. It's nice to share information, share knowledge. So those are some of my highs, and visiting new places. My lows are not being able to go to certain places. Doing travel and tourism is a very costly venture. Traveling is not cheap, and so that's the only thing I'd call a downside. Not being able to go to different places that you'd love to go because of restricted funds. And there are times half the people wouldn't know this. You see a video and so on, but you travel with literally only enough money to get you from town to home when you arrive at your destination. So there are times where it's very hard to travel. You know, you don't even have money to buy a snack along the way because of depending on how you've moved. So those are difficult times for a traveler. You know, you show a good face on the video, but you know, there's the real life to traveling. I don't know if I've shown some of the downsides of traveling. I don't like to just show good sides. I like to show what's real, good and bad. So
Yeah, good,
maybe
bad, and
those are some
ugly.
of the things I should talk. Maybe some of those are things I should talk about more often. But there haven't been too many lows. It's rather been very interesting,
Okay,
nevertheless.
we got another question. This time it's from Empress Tay.
How much do I need to travel to South Africa? How do you manage to travel? Do you get sponsored? Bruh, explain. We got to. Okay, first of all, Empress made a comment earlier on where she said she loved my Joburg video. Thank you. I loved that video. I loved traveling because not only was the journey exciting and interesting, but the event I was going to in South Africa was, it was mind blowing. It was amazing. So that always adds to the thrill of traveling, not only the journey, but even where you're going. But it was nice compiling that video. I tried to select country sensitive songs. If you notice, I tried to picking music is one big part of editing. So I'm glad you enjoyed that video. I enjoyed making it as well. But it costs 800 to go to South Africa from Lusaka, which in US dollars for KBM would be
Too expensive.
that's a good one. 800 by 20, 80, 50, 40 bucks, I think. Around about
Oh,
40 bucks. So
that's not bad.
that's by bus, yeah. So yeah, it's 800 to go to South Africa and 800 to come back. So you'd need to save 1.6, and then you'd need to find somewhere to stay. So there's your Airbnbs and stuff like that for you. Or if you've got friends, that makes traveling much cheaper and so on. So, the times I went to South Africa, I had the conference I was going for or something like that. So I never lodged at a lodge or hotel or anything like that. So that was good for me. So yeah, that's how much you're going to need, 1.6 just to go and come back. And then you have to add the other expenses of where you're going to stay and what you're going to do and how you're going to visit. So that answers your first question. How do I manage to travel? Well, I travel in the course of duty. Like I said, for the job I do, I go to Livingston, I go to the Copperbelt, I go to different places. My trips to South Africa were work related. There was a conference I was going to. So they've all come about as in the course of what I have to do. That's why I don't have certain videos to certain destinations because I haven't had anything to do there, so I haven't had the money to go there. I'd love to wake up and say, "Oh, today I'm going to Western Province. Tomorrow I'm going to Tanzania," but that's all costs. So I'm not sponsored by anybody. Hopefully, YouTube's gonna start giving me a big paycheck. Maybe somebody's gonna see the Khumba Guy and start pitching in something for me to travel to one place or the other. So no, I'm not sponsored right now. I only travel when I'm going somewhere, and then I vlog that and share that experience. So that's how I get about, and that's how I do my thing.
Okay, so LR Gabriel was in here earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but he made a comment that I have a question too. So I know you read this earlier because I put it up on the screen.
Sorry, bike outside.
Sounds like Nairobi. So he's saying that Zambian YouTubers, are letting you down or something like that, are gone political.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
Really don't want to unite. What's that all about?
I don't want to speak for everybody and say what, talk about what other people are doing in their YouTube and so on. But I understand part of what he's saying. A lot of YouTubers, depending on if especially if your channel is broad and general, a number of them, I can't say they have gone political, but they've made a lot of political videos.
Right.
Now, part of the reason for that is because political videos go viral, if I should use that term. They get a lot of views, you get a lot of watch time,
right,
and stuff like that. So it's very easy to defer to a political video, and there's not much work sometimes. You just get a clip from wherever it is, make a commentary over it, and things like that. So if you're not if you're not particularly into a niche of some sort, and if your channel is very general, you pick on anything. And I mean, if it is a general channel, you're free to do that. So you have a lot of Zambian YouTubers doing a lot of political stuff and so on. We do have a lot of hair channels. A lot of girls do a lot of hair and stuff like that. So a lot of Zambian YouTubers are making, not necessarily they've gone political, but they're making political videos about things which CR1 and whatnot. And those give you the views, they give you the watch time and so on. It's much more harder for people like us to stick to a niche and try to build that brand and try to get people to watch your videos and things like that. So I guess that's what he's talking about. And they don't want to unite. I don't know about unite, what exactly he's referring to.
I think maybe collaboration. Did a collab.
Doing collaborations, yeah. I've featured one or two people. I've done a video with one or two people, but I haven't managed to meet too many people yet. I'd love to do that, and I've got that in the pipeline with a number of people. We want to do a train ride. Sekai wants to get on the train. A number of people have been interested in trying out the train because they haven't tried it out much. So for me, that's something I'm going to do and take up people on that and let them experience it. So yeah, I guess we're getting to know each other. I mean, I've only known so many YouTubers in the past 1 year. My channel started last year, January 2019, but it was only this year that I started meeting all these people and we got to know each other and making plans to collaborate. COVID happened, so we couldn't meet up with some of them. So hopefully they will collaborate and share content and do videos together in the near future. I mean, I'm a culprit of that. I haven't done videos with too many people at all anyway, so we hope we can do that.
Okay, well, this interview is officially a collaboration. So if anybody is out there and trying to break into the collabo market, as I'm going to put it, interviews or holding panels is a good way to do it. One thing I would stay away from if you have panels of groups of people is get to know the individuals. Don't just let anybody on the panel because it can actually ruin. It can either go really well, or it can go really bad. Let me just put it that way. So get to know who you're bringing on the panel and stick to the subject at hand. Okay.
I did do. I started a Sunday chat, a Sunday live stream. So I called it the Sunday chat, and so I'll do that. And then I got the paid up Zoom, so I could have a number of people come on. So I did one or two where I shared the link with a couple of YouTubers and they jumped on and we had a very good conversation. It went on for what, about 4 hours or so. So it was a very interesting discussion and a platform to have with a bunch of YouTubers and just discuss various things. So that was nice. Um, I should do it again. Of course, there's time zones. There are a lot of Zambian YouTubers out of the country in the diaspora. So, but yeah, the thing I did initially was very nice to have guys come on because Zoom can have multiple people and you can all chat. There's StreamYard as well, but I've never used that myself. So it is a good idea.
Okay, okay. All right, so my next question for you is, when did you start a YouTube channel?
All right, so I started the Khumba Guy January 2019, last year. I did record. So there's two of my videos, a number of my videos I recorded in 2018, October of 2018. One of my Victoria Falls dry season video I recorded in 2018. My Lusaka to Livingston, my first Lusaka to Livingston bus trip video I recorded in 2018. But I only officially started my YouTube channel and Facebook page in January of 2019 and posted those videos and then actually got down into figuring out what it was I was doing. Started as a hobby, just, oh, let me share this, let me share that. But there seems to be something to it and something going, so I figured I could make it out into something real and so on. So it's developed over the years. I'm learning over the years. I'm trying to get to know what I can and cannot do, what I should or should not do. So I'm learning the ropes as we go. It's been an interesting journey.
Okay. And why did you start a YouTube channel?
A number of reasons. Firstly, like I said, what drives me question, I enjoy to travel and I enjoy to learn about the route, learn about this and that, and even in destination. So I think I had the desire to share it with, to share those experiences and information with people. That's one reason, first or whatever. Yeah, that's the first reason. Secondly, I've had people ask, "Oh, how was your trip? How long is this and that?" So I figured I could share that information with people. Also, I thought if somebody has never been on a particular route, or if a foreigner, if KBM is coming to Zambia and he's going to Mansa or Mongu, he'd want to know how long is my journey going to take. I've never been on this route. Where am I going to stop for refreshments or whatever it is, and how much does it cost? How's the experience? What options of travel do I have? So I figured I could do that and share that information and share those videos so that somebody watching from outside has a bit of an understanding. Like Empress said, she'd like to go to South Africa. She can watch the video and say, oh, okay, so from Zambia to South Africa, there's this and this. I need to prepare myself in this way. I need to carry this food or buy drinks, or we're going to stop off here and there or not. So I think it's important for me to share that. I like to do that primarily out of that passion and because people have started asking about it as well. So firstly, I love to travel and to see places, and secondly, I love to share that information. So I think those are the two primary reasons for starting up the Khumba Guy.
I would also like just to pitch in a little bit of information. I used to travel a lot, not as a vlogger. We're talking, in the 90s and stuff like that, state to state for jobs and stuff like that. And I found out that if you really want to save money on the trips to and from, and you don't want to have low energy, you want to have high energy, even though you can be sleeping on the bus sometimes, or the plane or what have you. Planes, you can't really bring your own food, but on the buses and the trains, you should be able to bring your own food. I would bring low cost, easy, sustainable fruits. And what I'm talking about is apples and pears, things like that. Things that have a thin skin, but also give you high energy. But at the same time, you're not going to gain weight while you're sleeping at the same time. So, and it's true. I remember taking a 2.5-day trip from Houston, Texas to Los Angeles, and I bought 7 apples. It was basically 2 apples for a day, and it got me through the whole trip. And if I remember, those 7 apples cost me about $1.50. back then.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I
Mm-hmm.
was strapped for cash, but it taught me something that everything I just got done telling you, it's true within these foods. But that's one way if you're a travel vlogger and you need the money to do little extra things for your vlogging, one way to cut down the cost is the type of foods that you bring with you to eat.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's one way to
yeah.
cut those costs. So my next question for you, you basically already answered it. You know, that's the collaboration thing with LR Gabriel brought up. Now, what equipment do you use when making your videos?
All right, so I started with, well, not I started. I had a phone. So basically, it's a phone. I have a Samsung Galaxy, so that's been helpful because it's got a fairly good camera. I have it here. So that's my. It's a cell phone. It's an S4, but it has a slightly bigger camera. So that's what I use mostly, and my cell phone. It's easy because I had that and I started recording. Like I said, it started as a hobby. It wasn't anything professional. It was nothing I wanted to do and make. This was just me sharing my trips and stuff like that, and it proved good enough for what I was doing at that time, and it's kind of working for now. So basically, it's just a phone and editing on. I started editing on my phone first, but now I edit on my laptop. So um, that's all I do. That's all I use. My cell phone, two cell phones, for my footage. Now that I'm trying to get more into other things, well, not really more into other things, but um, to improve my quality, improve my content. I would love to get a bit more equipment, get a drone and things like that. Uh, maybe a GoPro for moving and stuff like that. So with time, I hope to up my level up in terms of equipment. So for now, I'm still using my phone.
Okay, I think I'm just gonna try her name. Sakai, is that right?
Sekai, Sekai.
Sakai. Okay. So she's saying I can't survive on fruits alone, but yeah, that's definitely a cost saving idea. I did forget you need some water. Bring
Well,
water
one
with the fruits.
another option is to have we eat in Shima. So if you eat in Shima early in the morning before your trip, what we say is it's gonna you'll be sealed. Ishima really it weighs in on your stomach. So if you don't have problems and you can easily cook a meal early in the morning, have a big Ishima. That's gonna keep you till just top it up with. You can top it up with your fruits. You can top it up with water and maybe buy a juice for 5 kwacha, a drink. You'd get to your destination good, and then probably have your supper when you get there at the end of the day. So that's one thing. For my Joburg trip, on the Joburg route, what the operators do, the bus operators, they give you a meal. So they give you shima as you're traveling. Joburg trip from Lusaka is 24 hours. Literally, you start at 8 in the morning, you arrive at 8 the following day, and it's a non-stop journey. You stop twice at the borders, one at Chirundu and one at Bait Bridge. But other than that, it's a non-stop journey. The buses don't stop, the drivers exchange, and so on. So you go. So they give you shima with relish, of course, and as you get on the journey by 10. So you have that. You get to the first border at about 11 or so. So by that time, you've eaten. That will sustain you throughout the whole journey, really. You can have a few biscuits, a few snacks here and there, but to keep you good to go until you get to your destination. So that's an option.
Okay, so the Khumba Guy. I think you're playing a trick on us visually. Now your T-shirt says the Khumba Guy, and it's in the right direction, but you got something in the back that says hotel, and it's spelt backwards. How did you accomplish that? Or is that a reflection on the window?
So that's on the window. So it's facing the other way to show on the outside.
Okay, okay,
So it's inverted. It's inverted for me when I look back.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, because a lot of times I see people like taking their videos and it's backwards, or they take their photos and it's backwards, and it's like you can easily
Yeah.
on with editing software flip that back. But I was like, how did you do that on a live stream? Okay,
I don't know what my front facing camera. I don't know what my front facing camera does because it's showing straight. Others selfie cameras do it inverse. So I don't know which is which for my camera. It always seems to work out for me, which is a good thing.
Okay, so I got a quick announcement. I'm going to share my screen, everybody. Now, I did say, if anybody's paying attention to my community tab, we have Irina TL out of Uganda. Basically, we did a collaboration where she went to the house and interviewed the manager of the world famous Triplets Ghetto Kids. So, for those who know the Triplets Ghetto Kids, they're a group of kids who do dancing. They've been around the world. They've been in a music video with French Montana. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you on the screen. Okay, I was going to announce that I'm going to release this pre-recorded video as a premiere today, but I decided that 2 in 1 day, having this interview and that back to back is like too much for 1 day. So I'm going to do it tomorrow. And the times tomorrow is 6 p.m. GMT, 7 p.m. WAT, West Africa time, 8 CAT, and East Africa time, 9 p.m. So it'll be premiering. If anybody wants to join, check it out. Get into the chat. It's a very interesting. She gets some information out of the manager about this group. And if you don't know the group, just check out The Ghetto Kids or Triplets, TRIPLETS, Triplets Ghetto Kids. You'll find a lot of videos about them. So that's going to be going on tomorrow at those times. So I'm giving Africa times. If you're somewhere else in the world, just configure your times to that premiere. All right. So I got a couple more questions. We're going to wrap this up. If you were to start vlogging all over again, what would you do differently?
Oh wow, that is interesting. There's one thing I need to do differently now. I've been given a lot of advice that I should script my work and prepare beforehand what I'm gonna say. By and large, my videos have been on the go. They have been, what's the English word for it? Impromptu. They've been,
Spontaneous.
ad lib is spontaneous. Yeah, I'd say spontaneous. So I get somewhere, I don't prepare in advance, especially if it's a place which is going to catch me. I don't expect to be there. So like I said, most of my trips are in the line of duty. So I don't prepare and say, okay, today I'm going to do this trip and I'm going to vlog it and I'm going to share it. So let me research and make a script. Most of my videos haven't been scripted. I've just gone, oh, hi, everybody, I'm in Livingston. Oh, hi, everybody, I'm in Lusaka or whatnot. And so I just go along, go with the flow. I don't know if I'll do that differently because that's not really my style. Is just be you and just go with the flow. I'm a very carefree kind of guy, so I say things as they are. I get very. I end up getting lengthy if I prepare what to say and then I repeat things over and over and stuff like that. But I'd love to actually look and be a little more organized and try to be orderly in how I present my videos. I don't know if my videos are disorderly, but maybe I'll try to do that. I'll try to improve on that. Other than that, I don't know what else I'll do differently. I was learning along the way. I started my phrase "Let's go" along the way. So some of my videos, my earlier videos, don't have that. So I don't know. I really don't know what I'll do differently. I don't know if I'll be able to secure money in advance and then have properly scheduled videos and things like that. But I think one thing I would do is try to be a little more informed and give a little more information than I did in my earlier videos. So yeah, other than that, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, one thing you could do on that note, hold on one second. One thing you could do on that note that you just mentioned is you can always take the footage, whether if you're talking in the footage or not, and remove the audio, and then you can narrate over that.
Mm-hmm.
And that narration could be your script.
Mm-hmm. That is a good idea. That's one thing I want to. Actually, if you've noticed, or anybody who's been keen on following my videos, that's one thing I haven't yet actually done. Voiceovers. I've never done narration over my videos. When I started, I was editing on Filmora Go on my phone. It had that option, but I never did use it. That option is there even on the app I use, the software I use on the computer. But I've just never gotten around to doing voiceovers or recording over. So I just say things as I see them, and that works. That suffices for me. So I could try that in the near future. I'll try to do that. Um,
Right. You can also do a lot of B-roll. You have your A-roll and B-roll. If you don't know what that is, I can send you some links on that. Um, but B-roll is really good, especially if you're narrating something or if you're doing an interview like say this and it's going to be on a premiere. You could do some B-rolls throughout the interview, and those kind of make some things a little more interesting. Definitely, if you're watching a pre-recorded video, it definitely makes things interesting if you do it right.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, you got some good plans there, and I hope to see that come to fruition.
yeah.
My
I
la-
like to look into that.
okay, so we'll work on that. Let me ask you one more question, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Any last words for the audience that we did not already cover in the previous questions?
Let's go. Um,
Just like
um,
that.
let's. Yeah. Well, um, most of the audience is probably subscribed. That's one thing I'd want to tell them. Keep watching, enjoy my videos. I'd like feedback. What would you like to see? Whether in my inbox, personal, most people probably do know my numbers. I have the Facebook, so you can use the inbox there. I do enjoy feedback. And normally, feedback, when you say feedback, it's those criticisms or the comments which help you grow and so on. I love to learn. I love to hear that. I don't often immediately implement them, of course, but they go to the back of your mind and you mull over them, and they're helpful. So um, help me watch my videos and make your comments. I've heard a lot of comments like your music was good, so that's always encouraging. There's a lot of encouraging comments, and those are helpful to push you on and so on. But even criticisms are helpful to help you improve. So that's one thing I'd say. Secondly, let's go. Let's see the country. Let's travel. There's a lot of places you can go within whichever town you're in, or the nearby town, or whenever it is. Let's see the country. And thirdly, let's share the country personally with your friends and whatnot. Let's be people who can talk about it in a positive light, but also in a real factual light. In light of that, I'd also want to say that to fellow YouTubers: be free, try to explore. Now, this of course is my niche, but it would be interesting for people to share their surroundings, share your town, share your neighborhood, share your trip or whatever it is. I did a video of how to do a travel video, how to make a travel video, where I shared tips of what I do when I'm making a travel video. And by travel, I refer to as the journey. So you could do that. It's very nice for people to share. So I would encourage YouTubers to share that, share more Zambian content when you visit a place, when you go for holiday. You could do that. Like LR Gabriel said, I mean, you always have politics. Things will happen, elections will come, people will say all this and that. But it's the real life, day to day things, which are very interesting, and you could share that as well. So let's do that. If you want to do a collabo, let's do that. I'd like to also do it. Like Sakai said earlier on, it's much difficult. It's harder than we think. Meeting up with people, finding a schedule, but it'll be good to do that. But nonetheless, my encouragement and my word to everybody is let's go. Let's get on the train. Once the world opens up. Right now, things are difficult. It's very hard to travel, but once that happens, let's do this, guys. I hope to do my second Khumba Guy tour. I planned and scheduled the first one in March to visit Livingston, visit a few sites, and travel back by train. But so once the world gets back to normal, I hope we can do that again. Another one, similar one, or different destination or whatever. So yeah, let's go.
Okay, just to let everybody know, this particular interview is going to be going into a playlist that's dedicated to tourism in Africa. I already have 3 interviews that are in there now. This will be added to that one. So if you're looking for this video in the future, as the videos start to pile up on the video list, definitely check that one out, or just remember, type in Zambia, and I'm sure you'll be able to find the Khumba Guy very easy with this particular interview. Okay, so one more time, let everybody know where they can find you.
So the Khumba Guy, it's very simple. Don't forget the H. Where we don't forget the H. Just
Right.
youtube.com/the Khumba Guy. you'll find me. I was very happy to find that I could personalize my channel because then I don't need to send all those funny numbers and letters and so on.
Right,
So
right.
youtube.com/the Khumba Guy, facebook.com/the Khumba Guy, Instagram.com/the Khumba Guy, and Twitter.com/the Khumba Guy. You find me on those 4 channels, mostly on YouTube and Facebook, and you find my content, and you can enjoy traveling with me.
Okay, so thank you very much, the Khumba Guy, for coming in. And again, this is KBM, Kenyan by Marriage. I am the host of This is Africa. Again, this is Saturday, 8 August 2020. And on that note, we are out.
Thank you. Righty.